Hello, gorgeous souls. How are you doing? I'm just going to hang on for a sec and wait to see if anybody joins live. This is very exciting. I've just been pulling us a card for the group from the Sacred Forest Oracle deck, my absolute favourite deck that I love by Denise Linn. And the card that I chose for us is Daffodil Fairy, which is hi to all of you joining me. So good to see you. I've literally just started. New beginnings. This is what we're about. Soul reset, new beginnings, fresh energy. Spring is almost here. Can you feel the sense of hope, of renewal, of really doing things in a different way? And that is what I am here to show you today. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes we can be going on this journey of alcohol or sugar freedom, whichever you're on. I'll go into that in a minute. But often it can feel lonely. It can feel like we're struggling. We get stuck. We can't see the wood for the trees. And we're going around in these circles of never-ending day ones, and we're beating ourselves up, and and then things seem really good, and we feel like we've got this, and we're nailing it, we're storming along, and then something happens, and boom, we're right back to square one again. So I really understand the journey, and I'm here today to really introduce you to the Wellness Tree. If you haven't heard of the Wellness Tree, if you're new to my work, if you're ready to really kind of be open now to new beginnings, new ways of doing things, I'm so happy to have you here. Any questions, pop them below this video and I will come back and answer them. Feel free to send me a private message. I love to connect with you. And just to tell you a bit about me, to introduce and to reintroduce myself, because so much has changed in my own journey. And also, lots of things are sort of coming into my world, and I'm at this place where I'm putting the pieces together, and it's all good and it's all exciting and it's all unfolding as it's meant to. So who am I? Well, my name's Kath Nolden. I'm founder of the Wellness Tree, and I started my journey really about 9 years ago. I decided to quit drinking, and that's the place I always kind of start my story from. But really, what I probably don't share as much is the amount of time, the amount of years before that I was spinning in never-ending day one drinking cycles. And I wasn't an end of spectrum alcoholic. I didn't resonate with that at all, but neither was I a now and again drinker. I used to be able to have a glass of wine, but I didn't like the taste and it went straight to my head and it wasn't for me. But I slowly sort of got the taste for it. It became a habit, and I felt more confident when I was drinking. I felt that I was, social situations were easier to be around and things like that. So I was naturally a quiet person, quite unconfident, wouldn't really talk to anyone, didn't really have any opinions. And yet when I'd had a couple of glasses of wine, I felt better. Now, I also have a history of high anxiety. I used to have regular fainting and panic attacks. And so my nervous system felt more settled when I'd had wine. But anyway, that's a long story. And to cut this story short, I'd had a lot of struggles with the drinking, with trying to stop these cycles of drinking. And then, so I now know this is grey area drinking. This is what most people struggle with. So grey area drinking is not now and again drinking, and it's not end of spectrum drinking, but it's this huge area in the middle where you can stop drinking, but staying stopped is the problem. And you might find yourself thinking about wine all the time, or I say wine, for me it was wine, but maybe it's beer, maybe it's spirits, it could be anything. And I also had the same patterning with sugar, which was my original addiction, stemming from when I was about 5 years old. And that was to soothe and to comfort childhood traumas, eating loads of cake, stealing food from the kitchen when I was little. And I carried these patterns all the way through. So it all came to a head really when, well, for years I'd been trying, before 9 years ago, to get out of this cycle, and I could do a few days, I could do some weekends, but I remember sober weekends just felt so torturous, and they felt really long and really boring. And I had this thought inside that I would actually need to stop drinking like forever, because I just didn't know how to deal with this problem I had, and I didn't talk to anyone about it. But I couldn't seem to break free from it. And then what happened was, my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, he ended up getting very, very poorly. This was during the time that I was struggling with the drinking, and then I was drinking even more. And he ended up being in heart failure for, it must have been about 5 years or so. It was a long, long time. So we had a long period of time of worry, huge anxiety, and I didn't cope at all well with it. I, held everything together on the outside, but I was so worried. I didn't know what was going to happen, and so I was hitting the sugar, hitting the wine, and drinking a bottle to a bottle and a half of wine pretty much most evenings. And this cycle of drinking had such a negative effect on me, especially mentally. So it made the anxiety a lot worse. I couldn't sleep at night. I was constantly feeling ashamed and trying to hide drinking, and just not feeling good at all. And all I could think about was drinking, not drinking. And this cycle just went on for so long. So anyway, finally, my husband received a heart transplant. He'd been on the emergency waiting list for almost a year, for a long time. Thank goodness, he received the transplant and all was fine. He made his slow recovery, and we finally managed to get married. That was 9 years ago, but I still had this drinking problem. And he said to me, Kath, you really need to do something about the drinking. And I'd absolutely tried my hardest with this. And so I knew that, okay, I have got to do this. I had too much to lose. I'd got a lovely house with my husband, living in a gorgeous village, still where we are now, surrounded by woods, by fields, by gorgeous nature. And I had, a lot. I'd found my freedom, I found happiness, our lovely relationship. We had a dog, and things were looking so rosy, so I didn't want to throw all that away. Plus, of course, I was worried about my health, and I wanted to be authentically me, and I wanted to know who I truly was. Beneath all the addictions, without the anxiety, who was I when I was present and calm and connected? I'd never found that part of myself. And so one day, I just made this decision. I thought, right, got to do it. And I was chugging along, things were okay. But what I realised, there was a moment that I've often talked about, and I call it my kitchen light bulb moment. And it was a really nice sunny day. We'd been out in the garden, and I came into the kitchen, and I thought to myself, I would just love a glass of wine right now. And I could have easily got in my car, gone down to the garage and got a bottle of wine, or 2 or 3. I knew how easy that would be. And then I realised in that moment, this kind of voice inside my head said, but Kath, that's what you always do. that's what you always do. And I could recognize then the pattern and the cycle that is never going to break. It would never break unless I broke it, unless I chose differently. So I said to myself, well, I don't know, actually I know that version of me. I know the version of me that keeps self-sabotaging, keeps failing all the time and going back to old comfortable patterns. Even if they're not feeling that particularly good, my body was familiar with them. And then I thought, well, I don't know the version of me that just keeps going. And in that moment, I had this kind of wave of curiosity. And I thought to myself, I don't know that version of me. I don't know who I am if I just keep going. And if I do create this sober life, what would that be like? And I wonder. And so I chose in that moment it felt really hard. It felt like it took everything I had. And I thought, I'm just going to commit to this. I have to. If I want to break this pattern, I have to commit. And it felt really scary. And I felt very unstable and wobbly and uncertain and afraid of everything. But what I knew was that, well, that's okay. It doesn't mean I can't do it. I'm just going to have to find a different way. And that really was the day that the Wellness Tree was born. So this was back in 2016. And slowly, breadcrumb slowly, the Wellness Tree, it wasn't called the Wellness Tree back then. I didn't know that I was, sort of having these things delivered to me step by step, inspiration-wise. But that was, how the Wellness Tree was born. And then over the last 9 years, it's really been just a beautiful map and a beautiful guidance system where I've been able to create 9 years being on my alcohol freedom journey, which actually hasn't been 9 years totally alcohol free. I have had a few drinking experiments, which I've always talked about because they're really important, I think, that we talk about these things. They were conscious, intentional choices. I did the first one after my first year thinking, I'm okay now, I've got this all under control. Let me see if I can go back and have a glass of wine, because I reckon I could do it now. I'll just be really careful, I'll be really mindful, I'll practice conscious drinking, and I did it. And what really shocked me was after the first sip, even just after the first sip, the pull to drink more was there. It was so strong. And it felt really weird. And I remember saying to myself, oh, it's okay. I just got to train myself back into liking wine again and just being okay with this. But I had those drinks, and I think I probably had maybe a couple more glasses over a couple more days. But it wasn't anything, it wasn't like a mega drinking binge or anything like that. It didn't feel good to me, and I quickly made the decision, no, this doesn't feel in alignment. I'm going to get back on the sober wagon because I'm just loving my sobriety journey too much. So I did that. I did my second year sober. Funnily enough, the same thing happened again after the second year. I thought, oh, that's okay. I've definitely got this now. Same thing happened again. Swiftly back on track, back on sober wagon again. And so then, I was able to get lots of kind of weeks, months. That's how it starts. It's the baby caterpillar steps of stepping stones. One day at a time, it literally is. And then just building that up into the months, the years. And during the first year, there are so many different firsts that we have to navigate. And that's why so many people give up. And they give up way before the first 90 days. And it actually takes 90 days for the rewiring process to even begin. And so many people give up because we're doing the hardest part first. We're literally our bodies are telling us it's wrong, it's not the right thing to do, and it puts us into fear. It's really tapping into these primal parts. But actually, there's no tigers coming, we're not in any danger, and we have to train our brain that actually this is what we're doing now. This is a huge part of the work that I love to do with my clients with the Wellness Tree. And so it's learning. I realised in this moment, okay, I need to learn to think differently, to be in a completely different way. So I started following the steps of the Wellness Tree and piecing these things together. Now, really, after my first year sober, I also had the sugar problem come back as well. So all during the first year, I was eating so much sugar, like family bars of chocolate, loads of cakes, just really transferring, going back to the original addiction. I'd also quit smoking a long time before, so that was okay. But I was drinking a lot of coffee as well, just anything I could to kind of regulate. But again, that didn't feel good to me, so I decided to start my sugar freedom journey. That took many, many attempts, but finally I did it. And I've been on my sugar freedom journey for a long time now. And last year was actually the best year that I've had, and really noticing how that seems to have gone. That energetic pull has gone, and now I really can make a conscious choice to have some sugar if I choose to, but it would have to be something that was very carefully chosen, that I felt really good about, and that I actually wanted to have as a treat. And I may very well go 100% totally sugar-free one day. I don't know, but for now, I feel really good in the place I'm in. And this is what I just so encourage you to do if you're watching this, is to take from this what feels good and leave what doesn't, because the Wellness Tree supports individual souls. It's a template I'm going to give you that you can make your own. We're all on the journey, all wanting soul freedom, and that means different things to different people. And that's what I love about the Wellness Tree, is you can adapt it completely to how feels good for you. So when we start our journey with alcohol or sugar freedom, and I don't recommend doing both at the same time, definitely not. We want to learn self-leadership. So we have to understand that we need to take responsibility for our actions, for our choices, for how we are running our day. And it starts with our mindset. And we have to understand that if fear is coming up, we don't need to let that stop us, because if we do, we're just going to stay stuck. We're never going to stretch. We're never going to grow. And we are here to grow. As divine souls, we are here to grow and to experience our fullest potential. We also need to dig into courage, to know that we can do hard things, we can make difficult choices, we can feel discomfort and feel through our emotions and our feelings, okay? We can feel uncertain. It's a scary place to just be in the unknown, in the void, without our crutch, and think, well, like, this feels really hard, it's vulnerable, we feel naked, we're not knowing. This is where the Wellness Tree supports us so well, because we're in between worlds. We've got one foot in the drinking familiar world with all the day one cycles, with all the kind of stuff that we don't want anymore, and the other foot is planted with maybe more of a tiptoe in the new world, the new earth, where we're heading, the new world that we're really wanting to create within. So if you feel like two different people sometimes, or right now completely all the time, then that's perfectly normal. That's absolutely normal. We are literally letting go of an old, outdated version of us that we've outgrown that. We're like, no, it doesn't serve me anymore. And we want to step fully, get both feet into the new version of us, into our new you. This requires patience, a lot of patience. It requires small, steady baby steps and pushing ourselves to our edges, to knowing where our edges are. So this means we have to get in touch with our feelings, with our body, with our nervous system, and how to regulate, how to ground, and how to support ourselves. And so this comes down to creating really solid foundations, really deep roots, so that you are anchored into you and you are fully supported. You're trusting in the process, in this uncertainty, like you're not sure where you're going, who you're being. It's all feeling very murky and foggy, and that's okay, because in time, if we keep doing the things, the daily things, our habits, our rituals, our routines that support us to where we're going, it's all going to start becoming clearer. And it's all part of our journey. So these are two identities. The two identities I talk about are the old version of us, and that's us really being in our head. All the energies up here, maybe anxiety, maybe depression, maybe feeling really ungrounded, worrying about the future, or thinking about the past. It's having these unhealthy patterns with not just drinking, it could be overeating on food. Maybe it's something like I used to have, where I actually had this food phobia, which went hand in hand with the anxiety. I had some very odd things going there, and eventually I couldn't eat anything. And I had some hypnotherapy and some kind of inner work that I did really sort of, I don't know, somehow I just managed to kind of heal that and get through it. I think changing my environment helped a lot with that. So it's the day one drinking cycle, it's the kind of things that we're thinking, the limiting beliefs, the things we think about ourselves, the thought patterns, maybe feeling in victim mode. It's staying in our comfort zone. It's not being brave enough to take the steps that we want to take because we're in fear of this unknown thing. And it feels really disempowering. And we can bury our heads in the sand and it just doesn't feel good. Maybe you're more in the new identity, but you're still being pulled back by the old identity. And we want to get both feet in the new identity. Now the new identity, the new you, with this lovely energy of fresh new beginnings, this is where I want you to focus going forwards. So everything that you don't want is you're just letting go, you're releasing, you're leaving behind, you're just not available for that anymore. And now, blinkers on, focusing on today and the future. So this is the current or the new version of you that you're working towards and you're becoming. And you most likely have, or if you haven't, you need to have an idea of what you want. And the only thing that I knew that I wanted way back 9 years ago is I just want to have this wine thing gone. I don't want to be thinking about drinking anymore. So I wanted my healthy lifestyle. I wanted to feel free within. I wanted to feel at peace in my mind. I wanted to enjoy nature, to enjoy the present moment. I wanted to feel more balance. I wanted to make great choices. And I wanted to be in control, more organised. I wanted to simplify everything so that I could literally focus on the exact things that were important to me. And so the new identity is you in your potential. It's showing up with your new beliefs. We can change our beliefs and have different ones that support us. It's showing up as her or him. It's showing up as that new version of us with our new habits. It's being unstoppable. Maybe we're feeling that fear, but we can use the fear as a tool. It comes with us and we do the thing anyway. So we're being connected, we're aligned, we're inspired, taking inspired action, and we're building and practicing resilience, creating resilience within, really being devoted to our potential. It's also knowing when to rest, when to be, because we can't be in action all of the time. We need to know when to pause, when to rest. Working with nature cycles is so beneficial as well. So balancing the masculine and the feminine energies that we all have. And so we have these two identities, and then there's this gap in between. The unknown, the bit where it feels really scary. Most people get stuck here. And we have this kind of identity paralysis. Well, who am I? Does that mean I'm not drinking anymore? Or I don't know. Am I drinking? Am I not drinking? It feels like two different people. And what we actually need to be focused on in this gap, as I mentioned earlier, is building these strong roots, strong foundations, which is where I focus with the Wellness Tree. So when and as you're building these strong foundations, which I'll go over in a second, this means that problems with alcohol will naturally start to loosen their grip, because then you're going to be feeling more confident, more empowered, and you'll know that actually I can choose to drink alcohol or I can choose not to. You're coming at this more from such an empowered place. We really need guidance, we need support, we need stability, and we need accountability to make any big life changes. So important things to know about this gap. So in this gap, this unknown place, it's where your potential lies. And just remember, if you have a craving, for example, you have a choice. There's a moment, there's a space between, reacting and taking the thing. There's this moment of our power lies there. And it's us catching that moment where we say, actually, if I choose differently, if I choose to just keep going, that's where I'm building my soul wealth bank. That's where I'm building my resilience and proving to myself that I can make great choices. I can push through the discomfort, because when I have done that, and this involves coming out of our head, coming out of the emotional drama, not thinking about it, just doing it, right? But feeling that discomfort as well. The other side is our freedom. there's the discipline aspect that we need to have. We need to build the discipline to sit with the discomfort, because that is where soul freedom lies. Okay? We need to be okay with being uncomfortable for a while we're rewiring. It's gonna feel weird, of course. It's going to feel really unnatural. We might feel like a fish out of water. We have to trust the process and keep going. So it's really important to have tools in place to support your nervous system as you go through this process. And we're all different. Every nervous system is different. So you want to have a way of finding out which tools you work for you. There's so many different tools out there. There's lots of things online on YouTube. In Soul Wealth Academy, I'm inviting you to, after this, my group coaching program. If anyone's interested, you can just private message me for the details after this. But this is specifically one of the things that we're working on, is really helping you to understand your nervous system and how that works, and the tools that are going to help you, support you. And there's a wealth of resources in Soul Wealth Academy. But this is a dying off period. This is us shedding those layers that don't serve anymore. It can feel like a grieving period, because we're literally losing a part of ourselves. We're losing the old and outdated version of ourselves. So it feels like a death. But we have to have that death so that we can have a rebirth, so that we can then start our new beginning. We can step into our potential and our freedom and be authentically who we are, who we came here to be. And so in this gap, in this territory, it's kind of wine witch territory. We'll get the cravings, we'll get the whispers, and we have to know how to deal with those and know how to deal with self-sabotage. We want to have a plan in place to deal with that. So you want to plan ahead, think ahead as well. Don't go hungry. Know how to deal with your anger or your feelings. Have the tools in place to do that. Have the connection with others as well, because it's so important to do this with other people so that you're not alone. Get that support in place, okay? And if fear and doubt come up as well, it's knowing who to reach out to. It's knowing actually maybe you just need to nurture yourself through this and coach yourself through this. Again, I support you to do this in Soul Wealth Academy. We also teach you the archetypes. So these are really powerful energy archetypes to help you recognize which voice is talking. Which shadow archetype? Is it the child? Is it the victim? You know, is it that saboteur? And we all know that saboteur, that voice that like whispers, like, go on, you've had a hard day, you deserve this, go on, just have one, no one will know, you can start Monday will be a fresh start. But how many Mondays have been a new beginning and a fresh start? And then by Friday you're drinking again. This was me. I had thousands and thousands of day ones. But we have to break this cycle, or we are just going to stay in this. And like, how long are we going to stay there? Because time is precious. Life is precious. Also in the gap, we can be very inconsistent with our habits and rituals. And do we actually have anything in place? It's really important to have a morning ritual in place, an evening ritual, so you're supported. Again, I teach all of this. You need to have structure and rhythm, routine to your day. The body needs routine, and you're topping and tailing your day with things to support you. So the wellness tree, how the wellness tree supports you in this gap. There are 5 roots Now I go deeply into these roots, deeply into the whole tree. We journey around the tree in Soul Wealth Academy. And I also work with the Wellness Tree Energetics. So as well as being a grey area drinking coach, I'm also a soul energetics practitioner, which means if you were to join Soul Wealth Academy, you would receive your soul energetics report. And this shows you who you are at soul level, what you're here for. And it shows you things like your characteristics, insights into your personality. I also give you your cosmic months, your cosmic year. So you've actually got things laid out so you know when the best months are for you to do things in your life and in your business as well. And this is so valuable because otherwise we are flailing about in the wind a little bit and wondering where to go. So in conjunction with, so we have the soul energetics fused in with the wellness tree, and we also work with the chakra systems as well. This is the new earth, the new 15 chakra system. And there's nothing else like this. The wellness tree is now soul wealthier than ever, if that makes sense. It's so rich with things to support you, and it's taken me so far and so deeply within. It's just so exciting. So here is some of how the wellness tree can support you. So in these roots, the first root is really about you being ready to make positive change and kind of why this is important to you. What's important to you? Why do you want to do this? Because we have to have a reason why. And also, why are you doing the things you're doing in your life? What things are important to you, and are they really important to you? And are you making space and time for them? Are you overwhelmed? Are you busy? Are you procrastinating? Are you being consistent with these things? Are you creating time for you and for what's important for you? And then we're going into your vision. Now, I found this really difficult when I first stopped drinking because I didn't know where I was going. So we need to know what we want to create, whether it's an alcohol freedom life or we're just focusing on, like I was in the beginning, a month sober, and then building from there. So what is the thing and where are you going? For me, the vision was, well, I want to just feel healthier. I want to feel freer, happier, healthier, be more present. I couldn't really see anything past that. I didn't know I was going to start a business and help other people with this and work with energy. I had no idea at all. So you never ever know where this journey will take you. Literally deciding to quit drinking, deciding to quit your vice, whatever the problem is, whatever the thing is, it's the door. It's the door to walk through so that you can live your life how you're meant to live and tap into your gifts and use them and bring them into the world. How amazing is that? All of the struggles, all of the addiction, all of the problems, right? We can just decide, enough, I'm done with all of that. I want to find me. So we're really tapping into this vision, into the new identity. We're working with the archetypes. We're working with new ways of thinking, new ways of being, thinking about your environment, your home. How is it set up to support you? This is all of the work we do in Soul Wealth Academy. And it gets to be really exciting because then you realise, actually, even if I've got things in my life that are feeling really challenging right now, like looking after a loved one or having a health diagnosis, going through a divorce, losing a job, whatever the things are, maybe managing anxiety, things like that. Whatever these things are, we can still change. We can still improve things and create more strength and resilience within, so that we can deal with these things, and we're not turning to drink or something else to numb and squash and distract, because life is set up to be busy and distracting, and it's like consuming, and we're feeling very heavy and very tired, with terrible health symptoms and things. And what the wellness tree encourages us to do is sink into our roots, sink into anchoring, and shed, like literally let go of what doesn't serve. Travel light, and we can draw this energy up our trunk into our different life areas. So using our tools and really creating stability, getting to know ourselves, we can then work with the different life areas. And these are things that we need to be nourishing, okay? So these are things in our branches. These are things like basic things, nutrition, setting our nutrition up so that we are supported, so that we know what things to eat to help us not have cravings, or to keep us feeling full for longer, to keep us feeling energized, hydrated. We're also wanting to look after our mind, build emotional resilience so that we're not reacting at everything, but instead we know how to respond to something or someone in the way that is actually authentically how we want to respond to that. It's building a really gorgeous, connected relationship with ourselves. It's learning deep soul care. It's having these boundaries in place that protect our energy and our time. Having that fierce protection around us, because we need that. We absolutely need that. And then when we have given this to ourselves, we're coming from a topped up place, so we're not feeling resentful, and we're more open, we're more loving, and then we can have deeper relationships, deeper connections to our loved ones, to our family, be more present for children, for pets, and really enjoying the precious, precious moments that we're not going to get back. So important. We also need to learn how to relax. We're always switched on. We need to learn how to relax, how to sink into relaxation and recharging, switching off, not being available, having an evening routine in place that nourishes so we can reconnect and we can sleep. Having excellent sleep hygiene, great sleep habits. There's loads of things that we can be doing to really have a good night's sleep. Knowing our passion and our purpose. Having something bigger, having a focus, a goal, a mission. Maybe you have a business or being of service. What is the bigger vision? I remember for me, I was thinking, if I'm going to stay alcohol free, I need something big to work on. And that's when I started this group, actually. It was another one before this one, but I thought I need to find my tribe. I need to find my people. If I'm going to do this, I need other people to do it with, which is what we need. We need to be connecting, because we're wired for connection. And also, so another branch of our wellness tree is finances, it's money, and it's learning that we are abundant, that whatever money traumas, things that have gone in our past, we need to work through that stuff. We need to develop a wealth consciousness mindset. And again, we do some of this in Soul Wealth, because there's, we I actually looked to nature for help with this, because when I saw around me that there is abundance all around, there are thousands of blades of grass, thousands of leaves, loads of birds. Like, there's nothing short in nature. Loads of blackberries, strawberries, there's nothing short. There's nothing lacking. But it's our upbringing around money or our experiences and things like that. There's lots of things, you know. I've had lots of money traumas to work through, so I understand. I really understand this. And again, it's our responsibility to do the work. And then fun and pleasure is such an important part of this journey. Finding, like, well, what feels fun now? Perhaps alcohol used to feel fun. Maybe it still does, but actually it isn't, because you know how rubbish you feel when you've drunk too much. And you know how much it's taking from you. Like your time, your energy, your money, maybe days off work. It's taking your soul. It's literally taking pieces of you, of your soul. And so this is all about nourishing and replenishing and gathering back. And fun is part of that. So we have to find true fun. What feels like true fun, as opposed to fake fun. What feels pleasurable. And this is where we're really connecting to our senses. Literally the things that we're looking at, we're seeing, we're listening to, we're tasting, we're touching. The things that are in our environment. It all matters. And our home and how, you know, is that built up to support us? Thinking about our inner environment, our inner home. And does the outer home match? Okay, so I'll just do a time check. I've got 10 minutes left for this. That's kind of the wellness tree in a nutshell, really. It's about creating solid foundations with really strong roots. And the ladies in Soul Wealth Academy are currently learning to build these foundations. And you can join Soul Wealth Academy anytime. It's totally up to you. Everything's recorded if you can't come live. But over the 6 months, you're learning how to really build solid foundations so that you can navigate life's challenges. You can weather the storms. You can be the new you. You can create the new life that you want. And where you're headed will require a new way of thinking, a new way of being. Maybe you have some ideas already, some things that you're working towards. Maybe you want to feel more connected in your relationships. You want a better marriage, you want to find someone, you want to go dating. Perhaps you want to be more present for your kids. You want to be a more supportive grandparent. Like anything. You want to be in your business, like fully as you, all in your mission. Have you got parts of yourself that you're holding back because you're afraid? You'd love to be more in your mission, but are you drinking more because actually you're feeling that fear? It all feels really scary. You're not sure where the clients are. You're not sure if the money's coming in, but you really want to feel more in a place where you can deal with that. So there's so many things, isn't there? My journey has been leaving a dead-end job that didn't feel good to me, working in a shop, didn't feel good. I started my own cleaning business. I've actually gone back, restarted a cleaning business to support me as I'm working in this one and building this one, my coaching business. I remember doing my first Facebook Live. Absolutely terrified. I literally popped on for about 1 minute, introduced myself and said something else, and then that was it. But just doing it, I did it, and it was such an achievement for me. I just felt, you know, you've got to push yourself into doing these things. Do you have a community? Do you want to be showing up more in your community? Do you want to find your tribe? What are the things that you want to be doing but you're feeling held back? Now, literally, wherever you are in your life, whether you're just starting your sober journey or your sugar freedom journey or some kind of thing where you want to be all in your aligned self, you want to be in touch with your soul, you really want to understand who you are, why you're here, what you're here to do, and you just want to get on with it. You want to have the juicy life. You want to bring more adventure in. You just want to feel free. The Wellness Tree can support you with all of this. With all of this, it's literally set up to support you with any life area. And it has this gorgeous ripple effect. And then, you know, this has an effect. So it starts with you, your mindset, how you're showing up, raising your energy, raising your frequency. You'll be looking different. You know, your soul will be sparkling into your eyes, lifting everyone else up, inspiring people. And because you're feeling more stable inside, more emotionally resilient, you'll be able to be there for other people more, to be able to connect deeper. This is so important and so incredibly exciting. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to do another live soon, probably introducing you to some archetypes, not the ones we do in Soul Wealth Academy, because they are the transformational ones, but these are the ones to show you kind of maybe where you are now trying to navigate this gap. But for now, I have the kind of the big invitation to invite you to come and join Soul Wealth Academy. If you want the details on that, just type details in the comments below and I'll send them to you, or send me a private message and I'll send them to you that way. Also, if you're not feeling quite ready for that, but you would like a little bit of some clarity around your next steps, I have a free form that you can fill in. So you can fill that in and I will send you some feedback on that to help you move forwards. Again, just send me a private message and ask me for form in capital letters, or form below in the comments, and I'll understand what you mean. You also have the free introductory guide to the Wellness Tree, which is available in the group or on my website. Everything is on the website, thewellnesstree.uk. So I hope this has helped, and you'll be able to make a plan, or the start of a plan going forwards. Remember your why you're doing it, your vision, like really what you want to create, and start getting these things in place. If you want some support with this, pop me a message and I'll be in touch. Thank you for being here. Thank you for catching the replay. Lots and lots of love. Bye.